Okay, here we have 4x4 sudoku puzzles, and we'll start with this one, this box up here. And in the last videos I didn't mention this technique, but here we go. So in this top left box here, we know we need the numbers 1 to 4, so we know we're missing a 4 there, just going by this top left box. But if you notice here, I've labeled in each box on the top right, each 2x2 box on the top right, top left, and bottom right is labeled top right, bottom right. Because if you'll notice here, this 4 is in the top right corner of this 2x2 box up here. So that's in the top right. Then when we move down here, the 4 is in the top left corner of this 2x2 box. Then finally, if we go to this bottom left 2x2 box here, and you'll see the 4 is in the bottom right. Bottom right, ER. So you'll notice out of these we have the 4 is in the top right, we have the top left, we also have the bottom right. So what are we missing? The bottom left. And that's exactly where the 4 goes, the bottom left corner. So let's say we jump over to this puzzle here, and we know we have 3 4s there. So going by that, we have the bottom left, EL, the bottom right, ER, and the top left, TL. So just by these, we know the 4 would go right here. Also, just by looking at this column, you know the 4 would go there. So we've confirmed it 2 ways. But I wanted to show you this new technique, because sometimes when the puzzles are bigger, like a 9x9 puzzle, it can be more difficult. Sometimes you can't eliminate numbers just by the box or the column or the row. Sometimes you need to use this technique. So we'll just solve the rest of these. And in this column here, we're missing. You can pause the video now and solve them, or just shout it out as I go. So here in this column, we're missing a 1. Then in this bottom left 2x2 box, we're missing or in this column, we're missing a 2. Then we could go to this bottom row here, we're missing a 1. Then in this bottom right box, we're missing, or in this row here, we're missing a 2. So then we could complete these 2 boxes using this technique or using these 2 columns, whatever you find is easier. In this situation, I would just quickly see what is missing from each column, rather than going around and checking the positions of top left, top right of each number. So here I could see immediately we're missing in this column a 1. And then here we could go by the top right box, or the column, or this row here, whatever you see first. So by this row, I just immediately see I'm missing a 2. So then jumping to this puzzle here, looking at the bottom left box, we want to find these 2 numbers. So we know we need a 3 and a 4. And if we look over here, we see there's a 3 in this row. So we know the 3 cannot be in this row again. So the 3 must be down here. Then we could go by this bottom right box, or we can remember we just needed a 3 and a 4. So we know the 4 would go up there, or we know there's already a 4 in this bottom row, so the 4 must go up here. And then in these two columns, we're left with an empty space. So by this first column, you would know a 3 is missing. By the second column, you would know a 4. Or you could look at, there's a 4 and a 3 down here, and when they move up here, you would have to flip the positions. So having a 4 here and a 3 here, flipping those positions as they go up so they don't repeat in those columns. So then, looking at this row here, you can see we're missing a 2. And then in this top right box here, we could see we need a 3 and a 4. So we know we could go by this row or this row. So in this top row, we know we're missing a 4. Also, comparing the top right box to the top left box, we know this 4 can't be repeated in the bottom row there. Comparing boxes also in the row, it can't go double. So 4 must go up here. Then we're left with 1 left here, which would be, it could go by this column, this row, or the top right box. So we're left with the 3. And then for this puzzle in the bottom right box, we're missing a 3. Then we have this column here, and we know we're missing a 1. And then I've labeled the 4s. Oh, we did that before. Okay, so we got this 4 by using this positioning. We knew we had the top left, we had the bottom right, and the bottom left. So we were left with the top right there. And that's the top right square of this 2x2 box. So continuing the puzzle, we can go by this column here. We know we're missing a 2. Then we have 1 left in this row up here. We know we're missing in the top row a 1. Then we could see this column here. We're just missing 1. Or this top left box, we're just missing 1. So going by the top left box, I could see we're missing a 2. Or you could see in this row, we're missing a 2. Also in this column, there's no 2. So then this column is only missing 1 number, and this column is missing only 1 number. So we could see there's a 2 and a 1 missing from this box. We know the 2 can't go on this side because of that 2. So the 2 goes here, and the 1 goes there. And then quickly just creating a sudoku puzzle. Couple. We could say, okay, I'll put a 4 here, a 3 here. Then I know down here the 3 has to be on this side, 4 has to be on this side. So let's say a 4 and a 3. Then for this side, I would know the 4 has to be in the top row here, the 3 has to be in the bottom row. So let's say 3, 4. And we could also use the method bottom left, top right. Oh, see, top right, I repeated it, so we can't have that 4 there, that was a mistake. So we have bottom left, top right. So this square here would have to be, let's see, the 4 can't go in this column, it can't go in the top right because we have the top right there. So it's going to have to go in the bottom right. 4. And that's the bottom right. Bottom right. So we know top left. We know up here, the 4 would have to go up here. And we can cancel it out from the 4s we already put. So in this row, there can be no 4s. In this column, there could be no 4s. So this row would be canceled out. This column would be canceled out, leaving us with the top left for our 4. And then the 3 can't go in this row, can't go here, so the 3 would go there. And then the 1 and the 2s, I could pick either 1 here, 2 here, or switch it. But I'm going to have to stick with whatever I pick. So I'll put the 1 here, the 2 here. Then down here, we know we have to flip them, or we could go by the columns. 2, 4, 3, we know we're missing a 1. This column here, 1, 3, 4, we know we're missing a 2. So then you could go by this row here, you know you're missing a 1, by this bottom left, 2 by 2 squares, you know you're missing a 2. Then you have these 2 columns left, so in this column we're missing a 2, in this column we're missing a 1. So that's the process of creating a Sudoku, and we can create another one once again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then backwards 4, 3, 2, 1, then 1, 4, 3, 2, and this would have to be opposite, so 2, 3, and then we need a 1 and a 4, so 1, 4, 4, 1. And then you can erase out as many numbers as you want when you give the person the puzzle to solve. And that's the Sudoku. And these are beginner puzzles, so do these, try to make some of your own, and I'll make some more. See you tomorrow.